Hi there. In a previous series of videos, I have created this ChatWTF chatbot that works as a user interface for the ChatGPT API. So I can use this to talk to ChatGPT. And also, in a more recent series of videos, I have created this ChatGPT Clone using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. But this is only the front end, it's only HTML. I can't actually send any messages. I can open this conversation and I can see the messages here, but they are just static at the moment. So in today's video, I am going to integrate this UI into ChatWTF. So let's do it. Now, the first thing I am going to do is, first of all, I will check that I have the latest version right now. Yes. And first, I'm going to do something that many people might not like, if they have been using this already and made some changes. Because originally, I created this as a command line Python script. So in the first video of this series, I created this Python version that is just this simple terminal chatbot. And this was before the ChatGPT API. So we actually have this pre-prompt here so that the DaVinci 003 engine will work like ChatGPT. But since I have abandoned this project already, and it's such a small part of this project, I am going to delete it, and then I can get rid of this PHP folder and have this project directly in the root of this GitHub repository. Now, if you've made your own changes to the code, and now I changed the folder structure, then I'm sorry, but I really want to do this because every time I start this project, I forget to cd into the PHP folder before running phps localhost. So I am going to do that. This one will be deleted and everything in here will be moved up there. And then I can remove the PHP folder, which is empty now. So now everything is in the root. And let's see what Git says. It says that I have deleted a bunch of files. So I'm going to do git add dot. But am I going to have some extra files in there? I think I am going to do this. I will select all of these deleted files and I am going to create a new file if I can. And I am going to select all of these and I am going to do that. And then I'm going to say git add all of these. So then I should not add anything that I'm not supposed to add. So now these have been deleted, and then I will do the same thing with all of these without the PHP beginning. So if I do that, then, sorry, I don't have the Python/chat anymore. So I'll only do this. And let's say git status now. I have data.txt and debug.php, which I do not want to have in the Git repository. And I haven't added those in my git ignore, so I have to do this. So now it actually knows that I renamed and deleted a bunch of stuff. And I will commit this. Moved PHP version to root. And now we can continue with this project. So let's do this. Let's go to our ChatGPT clone and let's copy everything from index.html. And let's put it into index.php here. Now, we are mixing some PHP here and HTML, which I guess is frowned upon, but screw those people who frown upon PHP's amazing abilities. And then I am going to change the title of this site into ChatWTF. And I am going to remove some of these items from the list because these are just examples here. So let's go up to there. So these are our list of conversations. And then we have the user menu, which we actually don't have right now. I might implement something like this in the future. And we have the model selector, which we also have to integrate somehow into this because now we only have one model at a time. And I'm going to remove the plus from the logo because this is not ChatWTF plus. And here we are going to have our messages. And again, I have a bunch of sample messages here, so I will remove these. And here is our message form and our script.js. So let's now move all of the PHP stuff from the old version into that. So first of all, I have this base URI stuff here, so I will move. In fact, I have to move all of these JavaScript libraries because we have the Highlight.js for the code highlighting, and we have Showdown for Markdown to HTML conversion, and we are using Font Awesome, which actually we are using in the ChatGPT Clone already. So perhaps I can remove this one, and I will copy all of these, and in fact I will copy the scripts as well. So all of these will go into the head section up here. And perhaps I could rename this style into something else. So at least at first I can keep them separate. So this is the new style, or the UI style. Let's call it UI style. And here I will put the ChatGPT Clone style. And I'm going to move these scripts down here. Then let's see what else. That part is done, so I will delete it. And new chat currently just goes to the front page. So let's do that. Now, we are not using a link anymore for new chat. So in fact, I will not do this because it is a button, and currently I am doing it in the JavaScript side to bind what happens when you click new chat. Then I will do that in JavaScript. So we are not going to have to do this at all. So I'll remove those. And this is the list of conversations. So let's copy this and go to our list of conversations, which are here. Now we have to add this grouping because we don't have it at the moment in ChatWTF. And I am going to have to change the template for these buttons, because before we had just the li element and then a link in there. So now we are going to have a button. So let's do that. I will copy this whole thing. Now, it would be good to move this in a separate file, like we could have like a class conversation button, and there we would have like a template for this, so we don't have to add this into the index.html. But for now, we are going to do this, and in the future, we are going to improve it. So I will in fact just do this kind of thing, so then I can add this here, and I can still have the syntax highlighting for HTML. And here we will have the title. So I will just do echo HTML special characters, and I will add here the title. And I will have edit and trash. And at the moment we don't have the edit button or the functionality to edit messages, but it is in the UI, so let's leave it there. And we have the trash, which has a class of delete here and data ID. So I do this already in my JavaScript. So I guess I could add this here. So the button will have a class of delete, and the data ID will be echo ID. And I think that the ID is currently numeric, but I will still do HTML special chars just to avoid any XSS. And then I can remove this part, and I can remove that part. And we don't want to have a link because this is a button. So I will just add like a data ID again here, and I will add this ID to that. So then in the JavaScript side, we can just take it from that. So we will echo the ID there, and we can remove this one. So now it looks pretty nice. Now I might in fact move these in line, because in this case I feel like it looks better. So I am going to do this because we use them only once. Then we just loop through all of the conversations and print this stuff. So let's move on. What is the next thing? We have done this. Then we have the messages. So let's copy this one, and then we have script.js. Okay, that's fine. Let's do this first. So in our conversation view, we have the messages here. So we will add this here, and we have to do this with every one of them. So we ignore the system message, and then we are going to get the direction, which I actually don't have to do anymore, because in this I have the classes as user and assistant, which is the same as I have in the database. So I can just add directly the stuff from the database. Of course, sanitize it, I guess. So I will do this stuff again. And I am going to add the content here, which will be this. So I am going to echo that. And I can remove this one. And I can get the role and I can add it here. Echo, I guess I could do role, and then I can do, well, fine, we're going to do role because it is too long, and we are going to say that the role is HTML special characters of that. So that should work again. And what else do we have? We can now remove all of these. We should change the user icon. So we have to say that, let's add this. Let's add a user icon class. And what else? We have to have a user icon letter. So let's do it like this. User icon letter. And let's do if role equals assistant, then user icon class is GPT and a space, or maybe I'll put the space here. And user icon letter is G. And otherwise, it is going to be nothing and U. Now, it's U at the moment, but this should come from like the actual user that is logged in, but we don't have a login system right now. So we are going to do that. And then I can remove these ones from here. And I am going to change the name of this script. So I will, in fact, require two scripts. So let's do UI script and script, because we already have some scripts for the old UI. And this is going to be the script for the new UI. And this is called message input, but here we call it message. I'm not sure if I should change this one or change it in my code. I'll just call it message. And I have to add this base URI thing into the script tags. And I can remove this. So now we should have done it. So now I have to just create the CSS files here, which I might create a folder for them. So let's create a folder here called assets. And I guess let's go make a folder there called JS, and let's make a folder called CSS. And this should be assets. Okay, and let's create here style.css and UI style.css. And let's copy the style.css from here into the UI style. And in fact, I will just drag this thing up here, and I will replace that one. And our script.js I will also drag in here, and I am going to get my script from here for the UI script. So let's create a new file, UI script.js, and paste it here. And let's see what this looks like. It's not going to work, I'm sure, but it should kind of look like the right thing if I actually start my server. And in fact, I might remove the old style because I'm not sure if there's anything that we need from here, because we have the sidebar here and we have table and clear chat and outgoing message, code, cursor. Okay, we have the cursor here. That's the only thing we need. So I am going to copy the cursor, which is the blinking cursor, and I will move it here. It's the animation for the cursor. So let's do this, and I will delete this whole thing. Or let's keep it there, but I will not enable it on the UI. So I'll remove that, and I will all have UI style. And let's see, we have an error now. So let's take a look. The error is that we cannot find the database file, and that is because I changed around my files. So this is not // anymore, it is just db/chatWTF. And let's refresh and look at this beautiful chat interface. That looks so good. Why does it look so good? I moved everything to assets CSS, so I have to change, of course, in the index.php everything to be from there. Assets CSS. And I need to also do this one from assets.js and assets.js. And let's refresh and see what happens. Look at this. It is looking pretty good already. So one issue is that we are using the active class for each of these. So let me remove that from here. And in fact, I forgot to remove these examples from here. and this is not going to be active. Now we should add the active one as active, and actually the active should be the first one. Or does ChatGPT move it up when you select one? No, it doesn't. So I'm going to remove it for now, and let's figure out how to detect the active one. So now we have everything here, and we can scroll up and down, and it works. But of course we cannot select. It just goes to this view, which has nothing in it. And if we click new chat, then we go back here. Now I want to ultimately make it so that it will load the chats with Ajax, so that when I click it, it will actually not refresh the page. It will only fetch the chat from the database. But for now, let's do it as it was before. So let's go here and do this. Currently, we are just toggling the different div when we click new chat or any of these conversations. So instead, let's do this. Let's say if we have a conversation, so is it just called an ID? What is it called? Chat ID. So if we have a chat ID, then we are going to print the conversation view, and else we are going to print the model selection view. So we are going to move this in here, and we are going to move this in here. And then I have to change the display of this to be actually display flex. And now if I refresh, then nothing still happens. But if we then go to a chat of a specific ID, which I have to actually implement because we cannot click these yet. Actually, I still have in my script.js this event listener. So when I click a conversation button, we show a different view. But we don't want to do that anymore, at least not at the moment. We want to actually change the page. So we want to make the button act as a link. So I will only do location.ref equals days URI plus index.php question mark chat ID equals, and I will get button.get attribute. Can I just do data ID? I guess I can do that. I'm a jQuery man. I don't really know vanilla JavaScript. So now if I save this and I go back, then we should be able to actually, whoa, I did something wrong now. I have to actually bind the event. Now it's just looping through all of the conversation buttons and automatically going to that conversation. So I had the event listener here. So it should be there. And now if I refresh, and actually I closed the, I have to refresh the right place. So this one. And actually now I went directly to the chat ID 1, and we have the conversation here. And if I click on another chat, it will open that. Now I have my chat history from creating Eminem and Adele lyrics with my fine-tuned ChatGPT model. So that's why we have a bunch of weird things in here. But now we can actually select these different conversations from here. But they are not formatted properly. So I have to fix that. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to my script.js, which I did include, right? I did include it, but I have to move some of the code from here into my new JavaScript file. So when we open a message, in fact, do I have something on the load? Load. I don't. Where am I formatting the messages here? So here we are going to update the message. And what does update message do? It will convert the message into HTML from Markdown, and then it will set the inner HTML of the message, and then it will do the code highlighting and add the copy button. Okay. So, but where am I doing this when I load chat? It must be in the load, or is it just directly in this script? So where am I doing that? So I think I did something like exactly this. So here we have on DOM content loaded. We go through all the messages and then we just run the update message on them. And this will do it for all the chat messages. And what did I call them here? I called them something else. They are just called message, but in fact I only need the content, so I have to change it to message content. So let's do that. Let's change this to message content. And we do the delete buttons here. And I guess this should work already, right? Because we moved the data ID to that button and we added the class delete. So this should still work. And if I now refresh, then it doesn't work for some reason. Let's see what the problem is. So I'm guessing I can do this. I can do .message.content. And then for each of them, I'm going to update the message. And this should work. Let's see why it doesn't work. Let's get all of these and see what Chrome says when we do this. So if I just put this in the console, actually I have an error here. So that's why it doesn't work, because we fail up there already. Because we don't have the message input, because it is called just message. So I'm going to do that. And let's try this again. Refresh. And now we are actually formatting it correctly. That's great. Now, this copy button is now in a weird place because I didn't actually implement the styling for a copy button in this new UI. But yeah, this is working now. There is, for some reason, a lot of margin at the top. Let's see why that is. There's an empty paragraph there. So I should probably do something about that. I hope I'm not adding it myself. I'm not. The problem is probably in the convert markdown. So I should probably change my convert markdown to do first text equals text dot strip. Sorry, it's trim. What is it in JavaScript? Trim. Trim the white space from it. So that doesn't do anything. So where is the problem? I will figure this out later. Let's first make it so that we can actually send some message. And we should be able to click new chat. Now it just removes that one. So this is simple at the moment because we are not using any Ajax. So we just go to our UI script. And when we click the new chat button, we are just going to location ref is base URI. And is base URI going to be empty? Do I need to add index.php maybe? Or just slash? And refresh. Then now if I click here, we go to this view. And if we click here, we get a conversation. And we can click all of these conversations. And we can still hide our sidebar and we can show it and it works great. So let's send some messages. So I am going to go to the old UI script and let's see where I'm using message input. So when we click enter, we are going to send the message. And what does send message do? It is going to add an incoming message with the blinking cursor. But we have to change this because this is going to add the old style of message HTML. So I'm going to change the incoming stuff into user, and I'm going to change the outgoing stuff into assistant, and I will change the direction to role. And then what does add message do? It creates this message box. But I really don't like to create it this way because it will be very complicated if I use these like create element and add class and stuff. So I am going to do this. I will copy the message from here, the template. So it is going to be this. And I believe there is a thing called add adjacent HTML. So I can do this message list dot add or append, no, add adjacent HTML, something like that. Adjacent, insert adjacent HTML. And I am just going to make a template string and I'm going to paste this in here and perhaps format it somehow nicely. Perhaps like that and like this and like that. And then I will add here. How does this work in JavaScript? I do this and I add maybe a dollar sign here and role. and then I have to get the icon class. So let's do, what did I call it? User icon class. User icon class, and we are going to have user icon letter, and we are going to have the message, which we have to just put it there like that. I think I'm sanitizing it somewhere, hopefully. So let's put the message here, and we don't have to do any of this stuff. Oops, that's too much. This stuff. And we don't have to do this. We only do that. And I have to do this code highlighting. So I have to, in fact, get the message item. So how do I do in vanilla JavaScript this? In jQuery, I can do this. And this is an element. But in vanilla, I have to do something else. And I think I have to add here, like, the position. Now, the position is in the beginning. So I have to say before end. So I guess I can actually do what I did before. So I will say message item is document.createElement, and it will be a div. And I guess I have to do this stuff. So this is going to be a const, and message item class list add row, and we are going to also add the message. And then I can add to the message item. I can add to the message items adjacent HTML, and I only add what's inside that one. So then I am going to still have the message item, which I can refer to, and then down here I can do content pre-code. So then I can loop through all the items, and then I have to add this to the UI. And then we are going to do message list append child, and we are going to append the message item into the message list. And then we can do this. And I'm not quite sure, do I have to have the setting of the scroll top to the scroll height here or in the end? I have to have this actually down here. So this scrolls the chat window down when we add a message. So I will add a comment. Scroll down the message list. So now I have to add the user icon class and the user icon letter. Now I have to do this in two places now, which is not that fun, but for now it is necessary. If we did this with HTMX, we wouldn't have to do that because we can just get it directly from the response from the server. But let's do this. Let user icon class equal nothing. And if role equals assistant, now I'm realizing that this is actually redundant because I could just detect from the role of the parent element which icon to show, but let's do it this way anyway. Then the user icon class is going to be GPT. And let's do let user icon letter equal you. And again, if it is assistant, I guess we could do this and that, and then it is going to work. So let's see if this in fact works. So if I refresh, and let's create a new chat, and I will say hello. And nothing is of course happening because we don't have the element on the screen right now, because we have a different view for this model selector and the actual chat messages. So how do I solve this? Message list is defined somewhere up here, which is chat messages. So first of all, we don't have anything that is called chat messages. So let's do that. Let's go back to our index, and we have our views here somewhere. So this is the conversation view, and this is the chat view. So we should have this chat view all the time. So for now, let us do this. I'm going to remove this logic from here, and I am going to show both of these. And in fact, I'm going to hide the conversation view for now. Sorry, the new chat view for now. So let's go to our UI style, and new chat view does not exist yet. So I'm going to do view.newChatView is display none. So now if I refresh, then this is the default view. So I can still open a conversation, but I can also do new chat, and then we have this here. And then I can add the ID to the messages. So the message list is going to be, it's directly here. I actually don't have any div wrapping the messages. So let's add a div ID message list. And this might break my UI, my Flexbox layout, but let's see what happens. So now we have message list, which actually is called chat messages. Right. So if we now go here and we say hello, then it will be added here, and it actually works. So it actually answered me, but we got rid of the ChatGPT logo here, or the user icon. And for some reason I have G here when I should have U there, but I am a G, so I guess that is the reason. So add message, what does this do? This does exactly what we did before, but this is interesting that we got G here. Where are we setting the assistant? So this should be user, of course. When we send a message, it should be user. That was my mistake. But I think that when it actually started to write the message, then it got rid of the icon. And that is because in our event stream, event source, we are directly writing to the message. So we have update message, which I have to also update to do the same thing. So what I have to do is I have to say that message, can I just do this? Message equals message dot query selector content, because this is what I want to now change. I guess I could call it content, const content, and then I can just update the content inner HTML and search from the content. And we are still going to append the message. Okay. Oh, and this is actually a bug that I have. So we are appending the copy button every time we update the message. So I did this in the wrong way. So I shouldn't create a new event listener every time for the copy button. It should just exist there every time. And then when you click it, it should get the data from somewhere. Well, that is an interesting problem. So I will do that, whatever. Let it stay like that. And let's see if it now works. If I refresh and I go back here, we don't have a title yet. But now I should be able to continue this message. Tell me a joke. And, oh, what happened there? Okay, so in fact, we are adding this copy button multiple times. I just didn't see it when I created this the first time, because in the previous CSS, they were always in the same spot, so they were on top of each other. And I didn't realize that we are actually creating a new copy button with every token. I thought it's for every message, but it's for every token. Okay, but it works, but we still have U here. So why do we get U there? Assistant. Where is our assistant? We are not adding an assistant message ever. So outgoing, incoming. Where do we do that? Add message, role. So here when we send a message, we set the role to user. And here we should set it to assistant. So now if I refresh and I will say, tell me another one to check if it understands the context. It did it, but our scrolling didn't work. And that is because right now the scrolling, I believe, is in the main. So yes, no, it's not in the main. It's in, where is it? Overflow Y. It is in the conversation view. So should it then work? Conversation view, chat messages it is. So let's add an ID here called chat scroll. And then we can go to, or let me first try, can I just add this ID up there? We are going to have this model name now in the same div, which might be a problem later, but I think we are just appending stuff to this. So we're not going to care about that one. So if I do that, and then I say hello, then we are going to scroll down there. But we are not scrolling down after we have finished writing the message. Why is that? Let's go to our script, and we have send message here, which will start the event source. And then once it has finished, it will do message list scroll top equals message list scroll height if scrolled. And scroll to bottom checks if message list scroll top plus message list offset height is message list scroll height. So let's see if this one actually still works. So if I scroll up there and I go here and I do that, we are not scrolled to the bottom. If I scroll down and I do this again, we are still not scrolled to the bottom. So this doesn't work anymore. And I wonder what this problem is. Cannot set properties of null, setting inner HTML, of content. Interesting. Is this a recent message? Let me remove everything and let's actually see what these numbers are. So let's do message list scroll top 285 and message list offset height 403 and message list scroll height is that. And what are these together? Okay, so it's a half a pixel. Yeah, what is that? 285.5 is the scroll top. Great. So I'd have to do math round or seal. Which one should I use? In this case, it will work if I do round. So I will in fact do seal, and I am going to do greater than or equals. And then it should work. So let's go back here and let's say hello again. And ChatGPT will think, what are you doing? Asking me hello so many times. But it is working. So that's good. Let's see our code highlighting. So if I say, write a PHP script that prints out 5 jokes. And okay, so we are doing it, but again, this copy button is in a weird place. So this is actually the copy button of only the code. Okay, so the code highlighting still works, but it's kind of weird looking. And I wonder why this is scrolling this way. The reason is because we are using pre here, but we don't have the scrolling. So we have to actually copy something from the old style, which is this one. And I think there should be like a scroll in there. So there should be horizontal scroll in the pre element. Let's see if we can find that. And I want to also get these table styles if we want to output tables from ChatGPT. And what else do we have here? We have the copy button. I guess we could copy the copy button style as well right now. And I didn't see that there was a style for the scrolling of the code. So how should I do this? Let's refresh this and let's open this back up. And we have to do this so that when we open the message, it will format the code. So let's do that. I believe it is in DOM content loaded again, and it's in the actual script DOM content loaded. So we are going to, okay. So I have to pass the actual message here because update message will then take the content. So that should work. And what? This didn't exactly do what I wanted. Wait a minute. Why did it do this? Why is that in a code block? I don't understand. Do these others? Okay, everything looks like that. If I remove this, does it then look? What? Why is there a pre element here? Pre-code. Does this come from my code block detection? So if I only return the make HTML, so let's do that. Return text markdown converter text. Make HTML from the text. So does this still do it? It does. If I return just text, then it doesn't do anything. So what is going on here? Console log text. What happens? What is the text? It includes the U and the G. What? So where do I pass this thing? New message. Update message. Message text content. Okay, so I have to actually get the content. So let's call this. Let's first go back, undo these changes, and then we are going to do this. We are going to loop through all the messages, and we are going to get the text content of message.query selector. content, text content. Pretty weird, but it should work now. If I go here and I refresh, then it works. And let's see if we can add here that style. So if pre will have an overflow X auto, then it won't do anything because I have to say width 100%, which also doesn't do anything. But if I do width 300 pixels, then it actually works. But can I really not make it 100%? What if I remove these from here and instead I add them to the code block? And this will be 100%. It still doesn't work. Very weird. But if it's 300 pixels, then it works. So how do I make it 100% of the area that is given to it? Actually, it is already in the Highlight.js CSS. So perhaps the problem is with the message or the conversation view. So that is going to be too long, or maybe even the main. So this is width 100%. What if it's 80%, 70, 60? So this will actually change it. But that is weird. I am going to add just a max width in pixels for now because I am not sure what is going on here. So I'm going to say max width 700 pixels. And if I now refresh, that was too much. Or did that even do anything? It did. So now it kind of works. But that bothers me very much. Why can't I make it 100%? Can I make it display flex or something? So there's actually margin there. Why is there margin? There is margin. What if I say margin 0? What? What is that margin? Or this one has padding what? What is that orange stuff over there? In fact, that is like the full width. So even if I change the max width, then the orange part will stretch over there. But how do I make this the width of the orange part? So if I do 100%, again it goes there. And now the orange part goes there as well. What? Is this 100% of the screen? So if I do calc and I minus the 260 pixels of the sidebar, then it works. Fine, let's do this. But it's still weird. Do I then have to do that in the pre? So let's copy this and remove it, and let's put it pre. And no, this message field is still weird. I am not going to deal with this anymore. I am going to just say max width is calc 100% minus 260 pixels. And if I refresh, no, it didn't work. What is going on? What stretches it? Code is still that. So max width 100%. Calc 100% minus 260 pixels. It is still like that. Please let me know in the comments or make a pull request if you know how to fix this. I will just do max width 700 pixels. That's it. And it should be 600 pixels. 500 pixels. Now it fits. But now we can scroll it. Now the scroll bar is pretty ugly because we styled it everywhere like this. But this is a white background, which I guess I could change because white is not a great background anyway. So I could say something like background is, what is a good background? Can I get some auto-completion here? Let's do that. And that doesn't do anything. So it's probably in the pre, or maybe it is, okay, it's not in the pre, it's in the code, but it gets it from the like pre-code HL.js. So let's do that. Pre-code HL.js. And let's refresh. And that is way too dark. And in fact, should we have different like theme for the actual? Maybe there's a dark theme for HL.js. So let's do that. And yeah, it looks horrible. So Highlight.js dark theme. Atom1 dark. How do I change the theme? Theme guide. Let's ask ChatWTF. How do I set the theme in Highlight.js? Highlight.js. Okay. Path to theme. Where can I get the theme? You can explore different available themes on the Highlight.js website. Atom 1 Dark. That looks pretty good. So, how do I download it? Download. Theme. Where is the theme? Is there a CDN for the dark theme? What am I actually using here? Index.php is using styles default.min.js. So I guess I can just add dark to it. Dark. Refresh. And I have to change this back. And okay, it did something. Yes, it changed something, but it's still ugly. I need to use the Atom. What was it called? Atom 1 Dark. Atom 1 Dark. And refresh. Haha! Now we have a beautiful code block. Pretty beautiful. The copy code button now scrolls, which is a little bit of a bug. So let's go here and copy button. And I will in fact now add this copy button also to the update message. In fact, it is there. Where did I remove it from? Wait a minute. Where is the copy button for the whole message? Let me go to my GitHub and let me check where did I put the thing in here. Copy button. Just in the end. Message append copy button. Here. So now if I go back here and I refresh this, then I will have a copy button up there, which is behind my face, I guess. So I have to now set some position relative to the messages. So I will find my message from here and I will say position relative. And if I now refresh, then now every message has its own copy button. Now it's still creating millions of copy buttons probably, so I have to fix that issue as well. And this issue I have to fix as well because now it's moving the copy button when I scroll this. So I guess it should be fixed. So copy is going to have a position fixed and background is white and I should set the color to be maybe just black or maybe this one. And now if I refresh, now we have the copy, now it disappears. Does this have to be position relative? Is it not? Where is this? Where is the copy button added? It is here. So code should be position relative. It doesn't help. Why doesn't it help? Are you telling me that I cannot set fixed relative to an element? No. No, it cannot be like this. I should be able to change it. What if pre is position relative? No, it doesn't work. So I will forget about this thing and I will say absolute and I will again come to this later. And you can create a pull request if you know how to fix that issue. But now we have to center the text in there. So I guess if I just do text align center and that centers them. So now we have the copy buttons there, which don't really look like they look in ChatGPT, but for now I will leave it like this. And what else do we have to do? It is looking pretty good now. So can we now change these conversations? We can. And then we can add a new message. We can create a new chat. We can say hello and it will answer us from the ChatGPT API. And then it works. So we have to create the titles now. And there's a lot of stuff. We have to actually create these edit buttons. I should be able to actually delete these now, but I am not able to delete these now. So let's create that title generation now. So in my script.js, I am creating the title somewhere, create title, and I am adding the title to the title link, which is passed in here. So where am I calling create title? Here, when we stop the generation of the response, we call create title, and we're passing the title link, which is create chat link with the chat ID. So what does this do? I'm guessing this doesn't work. Okay, so yeah, this creates again some stuff with JavaScript. So I will use my template method again, and I will copy from here this template, and then I will add it here. And why am I doing new chat link append child? I think this is a bug that I created before. So I'm actually creating the next elements inside the new chat link. So I should not do this. So what I will do is I am going to check where I should add these. So in the conversations UL, I should add these. So I am going to define it up here. I'm going to say const conversations list is document query selector, and I'm going to select the ul.conversations. And then I'll add it to that one. So I will say conversations list insert adjacent HTML. And this is going to be after begin, I presume. And again, we are going to do a template, and I'm going to paste this in there. And I guess, again, we should actually create one element at least. So let's call it the title link. And we are not going to set a link because it is a button. And we are going to create a list element. And I guess we could say add a class list add, and we can add the active to this one, because the new chat should be the active chat. But before that, we have to remove the active from the others. So we have to say document query selector conversation. So actually we can do conversations list query selector active class list remove active. So we remove the active if it is in another conversation. And then we are in fact going to do title link insert adjacent HTML, and we are going to remove the list element from here. And then we are going to set the ID here, which will be the chat ID, which is a global variable, which is the current chat, which actually is not what we should do. Or is this going to be updated? Maybe it updates the chat ID. Okay, let's see if it works. And then the title will actually be, I don't know, let's call it untitled chat. And that will be then replaced with something else. And we add the edit buttons, and again we add the ID here, which will be the chat ID, and that should be it. We don't have to do this delete button because it is here already, and the title box is fine, and we don't have to do that. Now it should work. And then we have a reference to the list element from here. So then when we create the chat link, then it will return the title link, and we pass the title link into create title, and create title is going to set a title attribute and set the text content. But the text content will now have to be in the button, which is called a conversation button. And in fact, we have the message icon here as well, so we cannot remove that. So I have to add here span class title. Let's call it title text. So then we can actually change it separate. And let's find where we are using this and make sure we add the title text everywhere. So here we have to also do span class title text. And then again, when we are down here in the create title, we have to say title link query selector title text content equals response text. So now if we go here and we refresh and we create a new chat and we say, how do I install Apache on Windows? And it will start to answer us. And once it has finished the answer, then we should get a new chat conversation link here or button, and it should have a title for this conversation. And that will happen right now or not. So why did it not work? Actually, let me refresh. So why don't we actually create the title? That should actually be saved. in create title.php, it should be saved in the database. So are we not sending the HTTP request to do that? So if we go to network and we remove everything and we say hello, then are we in fact doing the create title in the end? We're not doing it. So that's another problem. Maybe our new chat variable is not being set properly. So let's see actually. If we do console new chat, true, but we have a problem here because we don't have an active element, so we get this problem. Why does it have to work like this? So I am going to add a question mark in there. Active. If we don't have it, we don't care. And let's go to console and remove everything and let's refresh and let's say hello and let's take a look at what happens in the network. We actually called create title now and we perhaps got a title here, but it doesn't have the actual title. Wait a minute. So we got the title from the response, but we didn't add it here. But perhaps if I refresh it, then we have it here now. Okay, so we get a title, but it is not automatically added. And the reason is that I'm creating this title link element and I'm adding this HTML to it, but I am not putting the title link element anywhere. So I have to say conversations list append child title link. And now if I do hello, then hopefully we get a title, but we still don't get a title. So what is going on? Let me do this from the console and it returns this. So it actually did it, but it didn't add it. Conversations list append child. It is adding it as the last element. We have to do, how do you prepend child? Is there prepend child? Prepend, just prepend. Can I do that? If I now say hello, then it will be added there and it will refresh the title. So now we get the title automatically. Now we don't yet have that cool animation like ChatGPT has, but we still get the chat there. And I think there shouldn't be like untitled chat. It should just be empty. And let's now do hello. And then we are going to make an empty thing and then it will refresh. Okay, maybe there should be untitled, whatever. We are going to create the animation in a future video. So now we have this dummy menu down here, which we actually don't need, but otherwise it is working. Let us now delete these, and actually now we can delete these apparently. It deletes the delete button, but it doesn't delete the actual element. So I have to change something. Delete. And let's see, so it's probably because it is deleting the parent, which is this, but we have to delete the parent of the parent. So let's see what this does. It will say target parent node remove. So I'll do parent node remove. So now if I click here and what? Why didn't work now? Do I have to create a chat first and then it starts working? No. What? Did I get an error? No errors. What? It already worked before. Delete button action. So this is on DOM content loaded, and we add an event listener to the body in the click event. If the event target matches button.delete, then we are going to do delete button action. So why does this not work? Let's do otherwise console log event target. And let's see if I click this one, what happens? We are clicking the I element. So in jQuery, I can use closest, but in vanilla JavaScript, I cannot do that. So can I do event target matches that or button.delete I? Let's just hack our way through this thing. And now if I click over here and I say yes, then it still doesn't work because now we have to delete the parent of the parent of the parent because we are clicking the I. And the reason why I don't add the event listener directly, like I don't say it's just document query selector button delete add event listener, is because then if we add a new chat here, then we have to add it to that as well. I don't want to add it in many places. This is now very complicated. So how do I do that? How can I do closest in vanilla.js? Element closest. There is a closest. Really? Well, you could have told me that right away. I could use closest. So if we have the closest dot length, then actually I will add this as the button, and then we pass the button into that, and let's say const button is that, and then delete button action takes the button, and it's not an event, it is a element button, the delete button, and this will be button. And then if I refresh and I click here, nothing happens. So we are catching it, but why is it not working? Closest, what is that? Console log button, and delete all of those and refresh and click here, and what does it say? Two elements, click. Yeah, so this is the closest button. So it does not have a length. It is the element. So I shouldn't take the length. I should just check. Great. If button, amazing. Amazing. I can remove this one, and now it's going to work. And I'm going to end this video here. And click and delete and click and delete, and it is working now. Great. And if I refresh, it didn't actually delete them. What? Delete button action. Because it is getting the data ID, which I guess does not exist. So let's search for data ID. Where did I put it? Data ID. Because I actually use ID here. So I will call it ID and I will set it here. ID is chat get ID. Okay, now it's gonna work. I delete that and you will not see it because there was another untitled chat, but if I delete this one, it will delete that one. And if I refresh, then it still works, and it works perfectly now. And I can select different conversations here, and I have code highlighting, and I can copy the code, presumably. If I go here, then there it is. And I can copy the whole message, and there it is. And I can still hide the sidebar, and I cannot show the sidebar. Wait a minute. The sidebar, hide sidebar button it has the wrong Z index. So let's fix this too. Hide, it is in fact UI style. Hide sidebar. Z index 3. Is that enough? It is not enough. Wait a minute. Okay, it's on top, but I think it doesn't have a background. So I have to set the background to be, just call it inherit, to get the same background as the sidebar. But it didn't do that for some reason. So why is that? What if I put it to black? It's black. So I guess inherit doesn't work. So I'll just copy this color, whatever that color is. And it is a terrible color. Why is my sidebar color? This is my sidebar color. And I'll add that there, and now I can hide it and show it. Actually, I want it to be that color. Damn it. What is that? Model name has this color. So let's add that color there. So now it looks like that, and when I go here, I can still see that button, and I can show it, and I can hide it. Now, this is a thing I have to fix, but that is going to be for the next video. And I have to fix this, why there is a new line in the beginning, which I really want to fix right now, but I am already past 2 hours, so I should be stopping right now. But let's see, this takes 5 minutes. So when we do our update message. This is the problem. I am wrapping this inside a paragraph. So then if a paragraph is inside of a paragraph, it will go to the top. So that will fix it. Yes, now it looks good. And this is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments, what should I do next and what did I forget to do? And don't forget to click like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.